You're listening to Radio Cosmos.
All night long.
Bravo! My compliments, little lady.
Commercial!
Break for 30 seconds.
You are now listening to BaaD Radio.
Hello and welcome to BaaD Radio. BaaD stands for Business at a Distance. This is a show about local businesses and business networking. We are here in the News Radio WFLA studio from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. I am your host, Angela Smarito, and in studio with me we have our producer, Melissa Fox.
Oh, what's up?
I caught her sleeping back there. She's working hard.
Actually, no. You caught me putting it on the social media so people can get a peek see of what y'all look like.
Hi.
She's juggling. Next up, we have Melissa Jacob with Striking Brand.
Well, hello.
Melissa is our co-host as well as our videographer. And if you go to baadradio.com, you get to see all of the previous episodes of the show. Mm-hmm. And then if you also want to see Melissa's other work, you can go to strikingbrand.com because she is a wonderful photographer as well as a videographer.
Thank you.
She's awesome.
Yes, she is. And so I'm also very excited to introduce our good friend and sponsor, Rick Hall with Ground Up Property Services.
Hello there.
Friend of BaaD.
Long term.
Oh, yeah. No, like I said, he was the one who was sitting with me when he said you should do a radio show. And that was like in July of 2 years ago.
Yes,
so
it was. And here we are again.
I've got, every time I get a Starbucks, I think of you.
Oh, thank you.
So thank you. So like
you were right that you were the first one who kind of inspired. That's right.
No, yeah. We were sitting at Starbucks, and I can't
yes.
remember what we were talking about, but he was like, "You should do your own show." And 'cause I think I was talking about how to make money off of business at a distance.
Because you already had the Facebook group.
Yeah,
first.
and it was growing.
And the Facebook group was growing. Yeah.
And he was like, "You should do a show," and I was like, And I was like, "I have to get sponsors." He's like, "I'd sponsor it," and I was like,
I'll do it. Absolutely.
I was
yeah, boy.
I was like, "You would?" And so the rest of it is history.
That's awesome.
So thank you for
Yeah,
that.
thank you.
Absolutely. It's
I
great.
wouldn't be here if it weren't for you, Rick.
Yeah,
It's
a
great.
lot of
It's great. I am so happy.
I was talking to Tom about it last night about how it's just turned into such a cool thing, and
It
like
is.
people ask questions about it, and people show interest in it, and people are reaching out to me and wanting to be guests, and like all the things that I wanted to happen are
Absolutely.
happening. So
That's a blessing.
it.
Awesome.
so good story
That's
there.
great.
But now we're going to talk about the networking news, which is brought to you by Symphonic CBD, which is a branch, a part of Live Your Best Life, and they are both advocates for Green Compass Global. It's always a little bit confusing. So you have Symphonic CBD and Live Your Best Life, and they are both advocates for Green Compass Global. And they are USDA organic, lab-tested, non-GMO, made in the USA, and cruelty-free CBD products. And they are key to making calmness a habit. They also have CBD for our fur babies. And if you get more information and the benefits of CBD, visit symphonic-cbd.com. That's symphonic-cbd.com. And so Rick got to sit with me today while I put together the true and false.
So did you get he got a sneak peek of the answers?
No, not the answers.
No,
the
not the
questions,
answers.
though.
Just the
I'm already
questions.
bad enough at this game. I don't need it.
I think you can do it.
Yeah.
I got
They're
faith in
fun
you.
though.
Yeah,
I
they
mean,
are.
because I just typed in, I was like, we have this feature, and I was like, I want some true and false or something. So here's a good one. True or false? The internet is the same as the World Wide Web.
Yes, true.
True.
It's false.
Why? Tell me why.
Wow.
Okay, the internet is a global network of interconnected computers, while the World Wide Web is a system of interlinked web pages and documents accessed via the internet. So I think the internet, the global network of interconnect. So the internet is the computers. The World Wide Web is the pages and the. So
I think the internet's more of a local or regional, and the World Wide Web is more global. I mean, that's kind of what I would.
Well, I think
out
what
of
it is, it's almost like hardware versus software.
Sure.
Like one of them is the hardware part of it, and then the other part is the software part of it. All right, if you're listening, John, John with Forge IT Consulting, we need you to call in right now.
I'm still considering them the same. I don't care what ChatGPT says.
Okay, what about this one? Wi-Fi and the internet are interchangeable terms.
No, false.
Incorrect.
False.
It is
That one's
false.
easier.
Wi-Fi is wireless network technology that allows devices to connect to the internet. The internet refers to global network itself, which can be accessed through various means, including Wi-Fi. All right, this is a good one. This is one that'll make you. You can't get hacked through social media.
That's hilarious. That's funny. If anybody has seen any of the past few episodes. So false?
False.
Yes.
Totally false.
You absolutely can get hacked through your social media, folks. So just know that. Here's a good one. Airplane mode disables all wireless functions.
Oh, wireless.
Incorrect.
Oh, wireless. I'm going to say false.
I would say false too.
You said true earlier.
I did, but now that I'm thinking
Peer
about it, I'm just
pressure.
like,
You're going with the crew.
all. The key word was all.
It is false. It says airplane mode disables certain wireless functions like cellular data and Wi-Fi,
Yeah.
but it may still allow you to use features like Bluetooth and GPS depending on your device settings. And I've noticed that, like if I go into that, like if my battery's low and I'll go to energy saver or airplane mode, some of my functions still work. Like I want to say the Life 360 that we use to kind of track all of ourselves, like the family.
We'd use that too.
This is a really, really bright one right here. You should always share your personal Wi-Fi password. Sure. Let me get right on that. My password is so hard right now. I have a hard time remembering
really?
it. I have a hard time getting it right because I made it so complex since I don't know if I told you about, I got hacked.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's a while ago, yeah.
Yeah. So I had John get on there and this is like Fort Knox. People are not getting
Did
into
he
this
give you
computer.
that little
No, I haven't done that little key thing though, but
Yeah.
that's cool.
then you don't have to worry about it.
All right, what about
Wait,
this?
what?
Oh, it's like a password he could put on like a little the word I keep thinking of is dongle, but I don't like that
Okay.
word.
It's like a
But you know what I
yeah.
you
mean.
can
Yeah.
use the word gizmo.
Gizmo.
Yeah. Like on a keychain
The
type
thingamajig.
thing. Exactly. So
Another thing you have to have for security.
and he just puts it into his computer. So didn't he say it had the password on it so you wouldn't have to remember it? Or was it just like an extra
It was an extra step.
Well, never
Wow,
mind.
that's cool.
But it was cool. It was
That's awesome.
very Mission Impossible of him.
Ooh, let's see this one. Clearing your browser history completely erases all traces of your online activity.
No, false.
What do you think, Fox?
False?
You weren't listening, but that's okay.
Not at all.
Cleaning your browser history removes the history of websites you visited from your local device, but your online activity may still be logged by your internet service provider, your ISP.
Oh, heck yeah.
So, yeah, it does not.
I just
Oh,
didn't
heck
hear
yeah.
the question.
Ooh, this is a really bright one, too. Using public Wi-Fi network is always safe.
Not.
I think you know my answer.
She answered for everybody. She answered for everyone.
What about this one? Your internet service provider, ISP, can see everything you do online.
If they want to.
Guessing yes.
Everything.
If they want to.
Yes, they can. Your internet service provider. So who's your internet service? Who's like what is that? Is that like Spectrum at my
Yeah.
house?
I think so. So if you have
Think
a
so.
VPN, does that like block them from seeing it?
No.
I don't know.
No?
It's a private network, but it doesn't mean that there aren't ways to see what's going on. I'm going to answer this, so I got to go.
Was that a phone call? But we're going to go over time. You're going to run out of stuff. The truth is that Spectrum can't even get their normal stuff right. I highly doubt they have the need to go in and check our
What
stuff.
websites you're going to?
I always say I don't have anything interesting enough going on for people.
boring.
I'm like,
I'm
you want
boring.
to spy on me? Go ahead.
Yeah,
You know, if
that's
you
true.
want to listen to what I have to say, go ahead.
Right.
I'm all good that way. So there we go. I knew it was coming up. So we're working really hard on getting like our 10-minute segments
On
in.
time.
All right. So that was fun. We're going to break, and when we get back, we're going to jump in with Rick Hall with Ground Up Property Services. So stay tuned.
Always sounds like a fun time from 11 until 1 Sundays. That's when we do this. It's called BaaD Radio. Go to BaaDradio.com. We'll be right back.
Welcome back to BaaD Radio, brought to you by Premier Couple Superstore, because a couple that plays together stays together.
Welcome back, and this portion is brought to you by Premier Couple Superstore. So, hey guys, it's time to head over to Premier Couple Superstore and surprise your sweetheart with that sexy bedroom outfit. Premier Couple Superstore has got a huge selection of lingerie, shoes, toys, games, love oils, and a ton of great gifts. And with Premier Couple Superstore, you don't pay those high prices because you're going to go directly to the source. 5009 South OBT, or shop online at premiercouples.net, because a couple that plays together stays together. I thought it was oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you.
I was seeing where that train was going.
I-
I was like, this
Where is that headed?
it's gonna come
Train.
around.
Okay, Rick Hall got that one.
Yeah. So I heard that there was another movie made from a spinoff of Ferris Bueller's because
Oh, boy.
oh yeah, but it was of the two guys that took off in the car. Remember when they took the car to the parking garage in Chicago?
The song's called "Oh Yeah" by Yellow.
But that's not the one from Ferris Bueller's Day Off, or it is?
It's that one, and then there's also the one with Dudley Moore and Kirk Cameron switching places, like the old Freaky
yeah.
Friday, and they use that one as
Yeah,
well.
but I mean, did any of you guys ever see that spinoff from Ferris Bueller's where it was the two guys in the car?
I don't think so.
No.
No.
Am I just making this up?
Yeah.
I don't
How
know.
did
Are
we get
you?
on this conversation?
I
Because
am
of the-
pretty
oh, yeah.
sure you
Oh,
made
yeah.
that up.
No, I'm
No,
right.
you-
Tom, text in. Tell him. I'm right.
Texting.
Really?
I don't know. Yeah, this is from Ferris Bueller's Day Off.
This one is, yeah.
So I'm telling you, I'm going to look it up. But anyway, all right. We're talking to Rick Hall. We're talking about irrigation systems
Focus.
Oh, focus, get on track.
Oh, it's all good.
now. All right. So Ground Up Property Services is your business. And so let's just start from the beginning. Tell us what is Ground Up Property Services?
So I started Ground Up Property Services back in 1998. After I had sold my first landscape company that I had. I was a vendor for a privately held pest control company locally.
Mm-hmm.
So back in the early 90s, I knew that I didn't want to do this for my life.
The landscaping part of it,
Yes.
yeah.
The landscaping. So I bailed early. And when I did that, I was having a lot of old friends who were in sales and management for this company call me and say, hey, we really want you back and stuff like that. So that's when I started Ground Up, was in 98.
So that should be your 25th. This is going to be your
Yep.
25th anniversary.
Wow.
You want to know how I know that? Because we were married in 99. Tom and I are having our
Oh, cute.
25th.
Easy math.
Easy.
But
Wow,
that's
that's-
amazing. So
That is.
25 years
Yes.
of Ground Up Property Services.
Yes. So we've done all aspects of landscaping and hardscaping and
What's
pavers
hardscaping
and
again?
what?
What's hardscaping?
Pavers and fountains and stonework and all that kind of stuff. But I in the early 2000s, that aspect of the business was going pretty good, but it was really hard to keep staff.
Because it's the heat and whatnot.
Well, the heat and just in the industry, most employees of landscape companies are not college grads. I
Yeah.
should say that.
Mhm.
Has
Yeah.
that changed, though? Because finding
No,
good work. Yeah, that's what I was going to say. That's a
It's actually-
perpetual.
it has not changed. Thus is why we're on the path that we're on now, because after the recession, I got really looking into what we were doing and how we were doing things. And, I found that I was working for them.
Mm.
So I was the owner. I, paid the bills and bought
So
the
you're bending
trucks.
over backwards to make them
I
happy.
was,
Okay.
making that $700 Bobcat payment every single month and all
Right.
that, having all that responsibility and
Mhm.
and not, just, that's just a lot of stress.
So 25 years, and I'm just going to say that, that's really, really something to be proud of. And this can have several different answers, but I meant, what do you think? What do you owe that success to? I meant, how did you keep it going for that long? With, like you said, with employee, with recessions, with the economy. I mean, you name it. There's been so many ups and downs, and here you are today.
When I treat people as how I would want to be treated, or how I would want my family to be treated, and we've always been fair, or we've tried to always been fair. I mean, I'm not perfect by any means, or the business, but we've tried, and it's just trying to keep an image, and I've wanted people to know, that, when I provide a service, they're going to get that service.
Mm-hmm. How did you come up with the name Ground Up Property Services? I don't know if I've asked you that on the show before, but I like it though.
Because at that point we were doing a lot of work from the ground up.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so having the full swing of dirt work and sod and irrigation and plants and pavers and fountains and all that stuff. It was just kind of a broad.
Mm-hmm.
It was kind of a broad to if I wanted. If I wanted to go into home construction or like remodeling and stuff like that, I wouldn't need to change the name of my
Flexible.
business.
True.
Yeah. As being a landscape company, you're kind of stuck to that landscape.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
So,
I think it's a great name.
And it says property services, so that's
Yep.
again super flexible.
And when I do wear my shirt around, people ask me if I'm a contractor, if I build homes. And I'm like,
You're like,
no.
maybe.
But that gives you an
Maybe.
opportunity to talk to them about what you do.
Yes, it does. It does, and stuff like that. And they're, people are like, oh, cool. That's,
And you're
but
like,
yeah,
and
that's
here's
how.
my card.
Absolutely. But that's kind of how I got started.
Mm-hmm.
And then, and stuff, I evolved, and then, a couple years ago, I was burned out. I'm like, after doing something for so long, you just are thinking of other opportunities.
A couple of years ago was like what, 5? When did we met? We met in
Pre-COVID.
pre-COVID.
So I was on the verge of burnout then,
Mhm.
and you and I had a mutual friend, Ann.
Right. Well, you joined Next Level Networking.
Next Level Networking.
Yeah, and
then,
Ann did as well.
Yeah, Ann did as well, and
That's the group that's kind of like BNI, right? It's like a
Yes.
networking.
Yeah, it didn't make it past COVID though, but
It's similar.
that was my introduction to networking as a salesperson,
got it.
and I was like, how did I not know about this before?
Got it.
Seriously, we're at 2 minutes. So, but yeah, I had no clue. But that's again, Brian Hastings got me into that, and so I met. The funny thing is like my partners, the people that I work with or that I met through Next Level, I'm still so close with you and Brian.
It's kind of like
and
the core
Mike
group.
Heyman.
It's kind of
Yeah.
like our core group, and we've all kind of gone off to little different ways, but we all still
And support
Yeah.
each other. I
support
love
each
that.
other, and that's awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, that's,
I see the CPA Rich
yes.
Barber
Yeah.
all the time at the gym, and he's fantastic. He's like 80 years old, and he's still going to the gym like all the time, and he's in great shape.
Great guy. Yeah.
Great CPA, but I don't think he's taking new clients. So sorry. I think that he's just like trying to deal with the ones he has and
Maxed
like
out.
Yeah,
Yeah.
trying to back out. But and I think Dr. Rex is still
Dr. Rex, yeah.
Do you talk to him anymore? He's a chiropractor in Winter Park.
No,
I think he's in a BNI too.
I think he is as well.
Yeah. But I'm trying to get his butt into BNI, and ain't happening.
If it's been this long,
I'm not going
you
to say
have-
never, okay?
I think he said that last time he was
I'm
on.
not going to say never.
I just figure if I keep
it's
poking,
just the time.
if I keep poking,
it'll
it's
happen.
similar.
It'll happen. It'll happen.
Oh, yes. Yeah, I think that, honestly, I do think it would make, but I get it because of the time commitment and the time that most of those chapters meet is when you need to be doing your work so that you're getting
Yeah,
it done
in the morning.
before it's a billion degrees out.
If it was like our group, Next Level, it would be doable because you're not committed, or you are committed, but you're not
With Next Level,
made
right.
to be there every single week.
We didn't
And
have,
if-
Next Level didn't have those strict attendance.
Attendance, and that's
Policy.
the biggest thing for me is that attendance factor.
So if I help you overcome that, actually, you know what? We're going to break. So we're going to talk more about that when we get back. So
Sounds
we
good.
have Rick here for the full 2 hours. So we have plenty of time to talk. So stay tuned
Here's your
for
warning.
more BaaD Radio when we get back.
Now that sounds like fun. Honestly. It really does. Rick Hall, more information about what's going on there. Plus, of course, Angela Smrito. Almost got it. Smrito.
Like burrito, girl. Burrito like burrito.
Yeah, okay. And Melissa Jacob, no S on the end. I am Melissa Fox. We will be right back with BaaD Radio.
Welcome back to BaaD Radio, brought to you by Premier Couple Superstore, because a couple that plays together stays together.
Yeah, boy!
And we are back, and this portion of the show is brought to you by Frogger's Bar and Grill. Are you ready for the ultimate sports experience? Look no further than Frogger's Bar and Grill. You've got sports fix covered with Saturday and Sunday football. Catch all the actions on tons of high-definition TVs while enjoying drink specials all week long. And don't miss out on Frogger's amazing menu where everything is fresh, never frozen. Oviedo, Mount Dora, Apopka, and Altamont Springs. Frogger's, hopping with food and fun. I love like when I send the stuff into production, they just always want to say Oviedo.
Oviedo.
I'm like,
Yeah.
it's not Oviedo.
It's like Siri's reading it or
it's
something.
like Oviedo.
Oh yeah, right. What did she say? Aussie cola or something like that. Yeah, it's pretty bad.
She gets creative.
I'm like, where
That's what they do with
Oviedo?
Wakaiva. There's Wakaiva or
Wakaiwa.
Wicavia. Wicavia.
Yes, it's done there.
I'm like, it's Oviedo. Anyway, all right. So we're here with Rick Hall, and the first half of the first segment of the show, we really were talking about like how Ground Up got started, and I actually I didn't realize that you have been going for 25 years, and so I'm really kind of in awe at that. So you're talking about the consistency, the customer service. So what I'm curious about is, so the services that you started with were what, and what are they today?
So the services I started with was stuff irrigation, repair, and sod and lawn maintenance.
Okay, is that the same that you have today?
Right now, all we do is irrigation.
Okay.
Or 90% of what we do is that. We don't do any more lawn maintenance, and I vowed that I would never throw another piece of sod in my life unless if it's for my own yard
Right.
or a friend or somebody like that.
So in that first segment, you were talking about when you started, you had a hard time because it was so stressful just having all of the workers. And you said, so now that's kind of why you're going in this different direction. Are you you're just paring down?
So what our mutual friend Ann saw, so she took care of a lot of our book work and admin stuff. And, I was stressed. I was just burned out. And so her advice to me is she wanted me to get a business coach.
Right.
So,
Well, Anne used to own a business called How Can I Help?
Yes.
Now, unfortunately, we did lose Anne to COVID a
Yes.
couple of years
Oh.
ago, so it was really,
That's
really terrible. But yeah, she had a business, How Can I Help? And she was the most amazing, I don't want to call her secretary. She was like a mobile assistant.
mobile
And
assistant. That's exactly what she
And
was.
so I remember I had a stack of cards from everything that I've
Yep.
been to, and I was like, I don't even know what to do with it. So she took it. I paid her. She put all of them into a spreadsheet. So at any given time, I could just do Control Find and say roofing, and
Yeah.
it would give me
Oh,
the
nice.
list of everything that was on those cards. And she did it quick too.
Yes.
I was
Love
like, girl,
that.
you can slow down. In fact, I think I paid her more than what she invoiced me for because she did it so quick, and she charged me so much per hour. So
Yeah, and she was great. I mean, I brought her on to help with stuff our paperwork, and also in our industry, if you don't answer that call when it comes in, you lose the job
absolutely.
because somebody's going to go to the next one.
Oh, yeah. Because they usually are going to need it like right then when they're calling you.
They're going to go 1, 2, 3 until they can find somebody that will take their call
Right.
and to at least guide them or set an appointment. So I brought her on to do all of that stuff for me.
Right.
So that way our phones were never.
So do you see, like in your industry, in your business, that's how that works? Is most of the time when people call you, is it because of an emergency?
Sometimes it is, but there's a problem. We get called because there's a problem. Their yards are dying. Their water bill, they just got it, and it's $500.
Oish.
And they're like, how did I use 60,000 gallons of water to water my yard? That's not so much an emergency on us, but
If I got a
on that person
$500
that's
water
getting
bill,
that
it would be an
bill,
emergency. I'd be
that-
like,
that person that's getting that bill, they're going to want to talk to somebody, and they're going to like now.
right.
What do we need to do?
Right.
What's going on?
Yeah. Let's not repeat this bill.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would die. So Anne advised you to get a business coach.
Yes. So, and all the years I've been doing this, I hired a lady, Pam Hargis with Focal Point Coaching.
How did you find her?
Through Ann.
Okay.
Ann had met her through a chamber event.
Nice.
Sonoma County Chamber, I think. So I had talked to a couple previous and just felt overwhelmed, because I'm coming from it at one angle, and they have so much experience in business. I mean, I never went to college for what I do.
Bookkeeping. So
bookkeeping and business in general. I mean, I have a criminal justice degree. So
Oh, really?
Yes. So I'm totally opposite of, I didn't study business. I
Right.
didn't study marketing. I didn't study, operations and
so
all
that
that
time
kind
of burnout, were you doing your marketing, your
I was doing-
servicing, your bookkeeping, your account? I mean, you were doing
I was
everything.
doing everything and
Then
outsourcing
be-
and outsourcing very little.
Yeah.
And now I've outsourced a lot and let people who do what they do it better.
Who
than
do you
I
have
can.
answering your phone now because they're fabulous?
So right now I have a company out of Orlando, and I'm drawing a blank right
It's okay.
now.
I just every time when I do call you, whoever answers the phone is so polite
Oh, that's
and
nice.
so
Yes.
informative. Like I would never have guessed that there was answering service. I would have thought it was somebody that's sitting in an office answering the phones only for ground up
Wow.
property
So-
services.
So company name is 317 Virtual, and they are out of Orlando, and it's a group of women, and that's what they do for small business.
I want to talk to them.
Attorneys,
Yeah.
attorneys,
Yeah.
doctors, other companies like mine. So I have one point of contact there, and she knows everything that I do. But
Right.
yet, the best thing about this is if somebody wants to take a week off, there's somebody else that's right there that's cross-trained. Everybody's cross-trained on stuff.
Do you think
And
they
that's-
want more business? Because I have a
Absolutely.
feeling I could
She is-
probably refer them so many people, attorneys' offices.
They're great. They're great people, and I've had so many positive comments and reviews from them. And so they take care of answering the phone, making the appointments, doing my invoices, collecting payment.
I
and
love
all,
them.
all that aspect, and that's what they're good at. Which leaves me time to do what I do, and that's fix people's irrigation systems
Right.
So when you
and
started,
sleep.
that's important.
Yeah.
So when you started, because I understand small business, like you usually do everything, but a lot of times you're doing everything on your own because it's like you need to be able to make enough money to be able to pay for someone else to start taking this stuff. Or also it's one of those things where you get a little nervous handing over parts of your.
That was very difficult. That was very difficult, and that releasing. But when you find that right company or person, okay, you trust them.
Well, how did you find the company that does your phone?
This was a lead from Pam.
Okay.
Because after Ann, our friend Ann passed away, I was left hanging high and dry because she did all of that for me. So
They were able to step in and kind of take over. huh?
after I interviewed a couple companies, and they're again a lot like what you said. I just wasn't comfortable
Right.
with anybody. I mean, it's my business. This is what I
Right.
worked for. But when I got a hold of Alexis at 317, I mean,
You're like, I like your voice. No, she's fabulous.
I
Yeah.
love them. I mean, and this is what she does, and they're very good at it.
Yeah.
So it
It's-
brought that peace and comfort to me that I knew that when my clients called in, the calls were handled,
Yeah.
and every call is recorded. So, and this has been a huge thing too, because we've had clients that have called in and like, well, I said this, and I'm like, well,
Guess
okay.
what?
Oh,
We'll roll
you know
the
what?
tape.
I want to
It-
talk
that's-
about that because I have questions about that.
Okay.
So that music means we're going to break. Now, I can't remember if it's 30 seconds or 45 seconds. Oh, she's giving me numbers, 30. I don't want to see that finger. All right. Well, we're going to go break. And when we get back, we're going to talk more with Rick Hall with Ground Up Property Services. So stay tuned.
That's good stuff, Angela. I think you almost got it on your own. That's right. Bad Radio will return. It's News Radio WFLA Orlando.
Welcome back to BaaD Radio, brought to you by Premier Couple Superstore, because a couple that plays together stays together.
Welcome back, and this portion of BaaD Radio is brought to you by Ground Up Property Services. With the changing of seasons, now is a good time to get your irrigation system serviced. So call Ground Up Property Services today. Also, with hurricane season, it's a very good idea to ask Rick Hall with Ground Up about a water sensor so your lawn doesn't get too much water. And don't forget about the lawn painting service. If you are planning an outdoor event and you want to hide those brown spots on the lawn, call 407-468-4295 and listen to the show right now, too. You can also get more information at groundupinc.net.
Hey, I know that guy.
I know, right? So we were talking about recording a call before we went to break, and I got kind of excited because I want to hear a story about what you started to say that they record the call, and so people will say, "Hey, I said this." So tell us the story.
So I got a call from a lady about an irrigation pump, and so we went down there, and I'm like, "Hi, I'm Rick with Ground Up. I'm here about your pump that you're having issues with and stuff like that." She's like, "Okay," and then I proceeded to give her a price. She said, "No." And I'm like, "What do you mean?" And she's like, "This is home warranty. My insurance is supposed to pay for this." I'm like, "No, I don't take insurance.
Mm-hmm.
I don't deal with that aspect." I'm like, I said, we'll come out, we'll fix the pump. This is what it's going to cost. When we're done, you pay.
Mm-hmm.
And she fought me back and forth. And then she's like, "Well, your office said that, you guys were." And I said, "No." I said, "They know better." I said, "They know exactly what we do." And I said, "I own the company, so I know what I do."
Mm-hmm.
And she was getting impatient. She was really, and then she said that my staff was incompetent, and started going off like that. And
I got a word for that.
And that got me, very irate. So
Angry,
I called.
mad.
So I called them, and I said, "Hey, I'm here at this client's, blah blah blah," and I said, "We have a problem. So what did you guys say?" And they said, "Well, hang on, we'll pull the call up."
He said, "We'll do a replay."
We pull, yes, and that's exactly what
Did you put
it
it
was.
Did you put it on audio so she
I was
could
gonna
hear it?
say
I
speakerphone.
did not. I had at that time, after when she kept saying that I should fire my help and all this,
Gosh.
I was at that point that I didn't even want to do business with her.
I wouldn't either. I'd have been like,
No,
yeah,
I mean, because it didn't matter what I say or whatever, because it would have been twisted.
right.
But on my end, when they came back and they sent me over the recording and I heard the call,
Mm-hmm.
for me, I was like, they did nothing wrong.
Right.
So I knew right then who was right and who was wrong.
Mhm.
But that it just backed them up.
You
And-
didn't send it to them. You just kept that to yourself.
Yes.
Oh, I couldn't.
I would just
couldn't.
be like,
Hey,
lady.
I'm just gonna leave you a quick voicemail. Just send the recording over.
I just I did.
Have
When
a
I
great
left,
day.
I wanted nothing to do with it.
I hear you.
I'm like, don't call me back.
I hear ya.
I'm just like, if you have a home warranty company, then you need to deal with them. I
Right.
said, but they are not Ground Up.
Right.
You know.
So that leads me to the question: does sometimes the home warranty cover the irrigation system?
I don't know anything about home warranties. Everything's done by what you sign up for. I
Right.
know some people have pools and septic and things like that.
You just don't hear that much about home warranties anymore, do you?
When I first bought the house,
Mhm.
then yes.
I guess
because it's a certain amount of time.
I
that,
don't even
after you buy-
know. Is it like a makeshift insurance policy?
It kind of is, but it's really good for when you first buy the home too,
Mhm.
because if there's something that maybe the inspector missed or something, because we definitely used it.
Oh, you did?
We did use it,
And did it
was
work, or
super
did
helpful,
they give you
yeah.
pushback on everything?
No, it was actually really good. Like
Okay.
I think it's like the washer and dryer came with the
Yeah.
left it, so
Right.
like things like that.
Right. Okay.
That the inspector isn't necessarily going to be
Right.
worried about.
But Grounded Up Property Services does not. Home warranties do not apply.
No.
Okay. Good to
No,
know.
I mean, if the home warranty company reaches out to us and wants us to be a vendor, that's one thing. I mean, we'll be more than happy to be a vendor for them.
And then
Right.
but they're paying you instead of the home.
Right.
Absolutely,
Okay.
absolutely, and stuff like that. So, you know, that was something that I never thought that I would have benefited from. But now it's just peace of mind that I know, you know, if there is a problem with something or a client that said something that they weren't supposed to have said or whatever, there's something to fall back on.
Right.
For us.
There's so much to be said about phone etiquette and just having a human being pick up the phone versus, you know, hit one for this, hit two for this. I got on the phone. I got stuck on the call with Walgreens Pharmacy yesterday, and I about threw my phone out the window because it was just, I'm like, fine. I'm just like, speak to a pharmacist. And then, you know, then I got put on hold for like forever.
They're like, let's let this one cool down.
Maybe. But yeah, so that's great. And like you said, that's probably one of the good things that like keeps you going is that you pay attention to certain things like that.
Customer service.
And then when somebody does call and what needs something evaluated, I mean, what is usually the time frame that it is for you to be able to get out there?
It all depends upon the time of the year. Right now, we're about 10 days out. When we were going through the drought, we were 3 or 4 weeks out.
Gotcha.
Okay, for maintenance stuff. I mean, if it was an emergency, we'll make something happen. Okay. But as far as maintenance, as far as, you know, things like that, if somebody is having their pool, having a new pool put in and they need, you know, it to be cut and capped or the system changed out after the pool's installed, you know, all that would be scheduled out further out.
Yeah. Our some of our stuff got hacked with the installation of the French drains, but they did the right thing and they came back because they have to dig these big channels from your gutters so that the water flows out and it takes it to a place where it's not going to. Because what happened why we flooded is because so much water gathered on both sides of the house, it went down and filled up the.
So that's where the French drain is.
Yeah. So, but they hacked our a couple of our pipes, but they fixed them.
And that's the big thing, and that makes the difference between a good installer and a bad, because we go out to our most common thing is we just had a fence put in. Okay.
Or tree removes, maybe? Tree removal?
Sometimes. That does happen, but more so on the fencing side because they'll come in with these augers and they'll go down and they'll chop the line. Well, they know that they broke a line. And they just don't tell.
I just smack somebody in the head.
So people don't either know until A, they have a high water bill, B, their grass is dying, or C, they see a big hole in their side yard and they want to know what that's from.
Right.
All right, and we'll fix it and reroute it and stuff. But I'll be like, they know that they did this. I mean, at least they could have
just said something.
Say something to the property owner. I mean, that's all it takes.
Yeah.
I mean,
well,
things
then
happen.
they
You
don't
don't
want.
know.
Yeah, they don't want to be held accountable for it because then they don't want to have to pay for it. That's what it boils down to, right?
Yeah, but in a lot of their contracts, or at least the contracts I've seen, you know, they have waivers for that stuff because, you know, they are going to be working underground. They don't know, you know, there is no way really to track pipe. Okay, so
well,
they
I
call
know
for
that
cables. And
they come out, and I thought they put that orange spray.
Yeah, but that's just for like the utilities.
Okay.
That's not for like your sprinkler system. Okay, that's for cable lines, power lines.
Well, they cut the cable lines too. They cut everything.
Wow.
Yeah, it was a pain in the butt. Tommy was not a happy camper.
No,
it took us,
I get that.
Especially because they cut it, and then they left for the weekend, and so we had no Wi-Fi anything for a whole weekend. We were not happy.
Yeah.
All right, well we're gonna stay with Rick Hall for a whole nother hour. So, but if you want to go ahead and give your information now, like I said, we're gonna keep talking about it as well.
Rick Hall with Ground Up Property Services, 407-468-4295, groundupinc.net.
All right, perfect.
Thank you.
All right, then you can find me at Striking Brand on all social media platforms.
All right, now I'll introduce myself at the end of the show. So here we go. Another hour of BaaD Radio coming up.
That sounds like fun. Stay tuned. We've got the top of the hour news, a little check on traffic and weather, and then we'll be back. It's BaaD Radio. Check out the website, BaaDradio.com.
You're listening to Radio Cosmos.
All night long. Bravo! My compliments, little lady.
Break for 30 seconds.
You are now listening to BaaD Radio.
Welcome back as we launch into the second hour of BaaD Radio. I'm going to run through all of the regular info for those of you who might have just joined us. I am Angela Smorito, your host, and we've got our producer, Melissa Fox.
Hi.
You're hi.
No, I'm not high. Shut up!
We also have Melissa Jacob with Striking Brand.
Hello.
So Melissa is our videographer and our co-host. All right, she's having fun with the buttons.
Bravo.
Three people. Thank you.
If you go to BaaD
my
Radio, what's that?
Sorry, that was my mom clapping.
Oh.
I'll stop talking over you now.
No problem at all. But if you go to baadradio.com, you can see all the previous episodes of the show there. And then if you go to strikingbrand.com, you get to see all of Melissa's other work because she is a videographer as well as a photographer. So for the first hour of the show, we talked with Rick Hall with Ground Up Property Services, and we have the pleasure of having him here for the second full hour. And I know that seems weird, right? It's like, are we going to really talk about irrigation systems for 2 hours? Well, yes, we are. We are.
on.
And you know what? It's fun because like I said, we're talking about so many different things that I've been dying to find out. I never even realized, like I said, I could ask him about what you do with a recorded call. I could think of a few other things, though.
Absolutely. I'll ask away.
Right. So, but I think the biggest important thing right now is like my goal is to get my sponsors and the people on the show to get their information out to the people that are listening to the show so that they can call you and they know what services you offer. And that's, like I said, my ultimate goal. So what is your perfect customer?
My perfect customer is anybody that has an irrigation system or knows somebody that does.
What about like communities?
Communities, it would be property managers or people that work with like apartment complexes or office buildings or
HOAs, maybe?
HOAs.
Okay.
Yeah, and, pretty much anywhere where there's grass. And plants,
So
which is every place in Florida.
so commercial places as well.
Yes.
Yeah. So grass.
I remember, I'll tell this story because this does pertain to irrigation system. And before we had Aiden, we lived in a townhouse in Winter Park, and we had an HOA, and the fees weren't too bad, but the grass was dying on a regular basis. And what it was is our irrigation system was so old and busted up, and you know what I mean? It just had so many problems. And so we kept getting these quotes from like bigger name places, and they were just outrageous, $100,000 to just rip it all out. It was a set of townhouses that went all the way around. And then I did the assessment because I took the role as a secretary, and I figured out how much it was going to cost everybody. And I was like, we'll never get this approved. Never. And everybody's lawns were dying, and it was such a horrible situation. And so what I found out is, and then the secretary before me actually took a loan out to try to get it fixed. And so, but finally, we didn't have to do that. I found a company, I can't even remember which one it was, but they came in and they actually repaired what was done for like not even 10% of the cost of what we had gotten quotes on.
And that's what we try to do. This past week I went out to an office building. They were seeking quotes to replace their system. Okay, because they wanted to re-landscape, and they're like, this is old and stuff. And I go out to the property, and I'm just like, okay, we can just change the timer out. We just need to do change out a couple things. I'm like, there's no reason to start fresh.
Yeah. Why did they think that they needed to?
Because I think that they were told.
Because somebody wanted that big
Probably.
fat paycheck.
And I always look at, what would I want done to me or my family or my friends, and
Right.
And that's kind of how I've run this and stuff. And I told him, I said, well, once you have your landscape plan, let's talk. I said, we can install some drip line And, I'm like, if you have the sprays here, they're going to water the cars in the parking lot.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I said, so let's conserve and stuff. And he thought that was a great idea. He was like, yeah, it used to water the cars in the parking lot.
Right.
Okay. And I'm like, well, there's no reason to, I said, so, depending upon your landscape plan is how we'll rehab your system.
Mm-hmm.
So there's no reason of going through that whole extra expense of doing that. So, they might be able to put a little bit more money into their landscape budget because they don't need to spend it on the irrigation side.
Right.
So, I mean, it's a win-win.
So I'm so curious too. Is like, how do you know where all the irrigation pipes are and how it works? And because you mentioned earlier about getting a pool put in.
Yeah. So with that, we, it
Because they're plastic.
comes
It's not
back
like
to
you have like a metal
experience.
detector and can find it. It's
well,
plastic.
It comes back to experience. All right. So we would, what would we do if we were installing this when it was new? So we would start there. Okay. And then, our pipes are usually 6 inches down, 8 inches down and stuff. And we have some pretty good spades, that we can go down and if we feel aligned or whatever, and that's just for the zone lines. But there again, that's just plastic, that's really easy to fix and repair and move and all that. As far as on the valves, on the wire side on it, we do have the tools and equipment to track down the wires and find the valves and do all that, so we can at least say, hey, you guys might have 3 on this side and 3 on that side. So half of your yard will stay water while your pool's being done, the other half won't.
Gotcha.
Okay. But that puts that knowledge in their hands too, to figure that, all right, this is going to cost us a little bit more, after the pool's done or
Right.
whatever, because it's a lot of unknowns.
So how many different pieces are there to an irrigation system? There's like a timer and the pipes and.
Well, you got your timer, your valves, you got your wiring. In some areas, you'll have a backflow device.
A what?
A backflow device, and it's the key. Once the water passes through that, it can never be sucked back into the potable water system. So you wouldn't want somebody else's drinking water or somebody else's irrigation water going back into our water that we use to drink.
No,
Okay.
because there's like animals use that for their toilets and, because we learned that when the guy was talking about hurricane water. It's true.
Yeah, so it keeps, because our main water lines, vacuums depending upon usage. Okay, so if a lot of people are using the water and it's that vacuum is going to go for that, so you don't really want anything to be pulled back into it. That's on a lot of systems. I mean, houses that have like reclaimed water, they don't have yeah.
I like that
Some
phrase.
areas are worse than others, trust me.
They have
they're
nice green lawns though.
they're nice green yards, but man, they do stink. Yes, they do. You're not going to have a backflow device on that part of the system because it's non-potable water.
Yeah, is that reclaimed water the same as sulfur water? Because they both stink.
Well, sulfur water
It smells
is
like rotten
from the
eggs.
wells, from usually the wells, the shallow wells and the deep wells and stuff like that. You'll get a lot more of that smells. But the reclaimed water is processed sewage.
Yummy.
Blech.
Sorry.
And in some areas, it's okay to work with, and in other areas, you want to almost wear a hazmat suit.
Yeah, no,
Right.
thank you. Don't
I would
worry.
see it like working on like if you have like a farm or
Yeah.
something like that the reclaimed water would be okay, but not residential.
It is a lot cheaper though, because people aren't paying the sewer on it, and it is sold at a reduced rate. So it is better for us and our potable water system.
Right.
Because as we found out as we went through the drought this last year, a lot of cities and counties were having problems with water.
Mm-hmm.
I know Winter Springs had a horrible time.
Winter Springs did, Oviedo did. Everybody was running out of water. Water pressure was down, to water our grass.
Mm.
I mean, personally, I would rather have a dead yard and be able to take a shower and have water to cook and drink and things like that than,
Actually, you know what? I know we're coming up on a break here, but I want to talk to you about the water in Winter Springs. And I have some questions about, because like I said, I kind of see it as a water expert, but like boil, like, how you get boil alerts and things like that. So I don't know. How are we at? There's the music.
You knew it was coming.
Well, she'll say 90 seconds in my ear, and it seems like it's been longer than that. But anyway, so she's saying, wrap it up. All right, we're going to break. When we get back, more with Rick Hall with Ground Up Property Services.
You're listening to BaaD Radio.
Welcome back to BaaD Radio, brought to you by Premier Couple Superstore, because a couple that plays together stays together.
Yeah, boy.
Welcome back to BaaD Radio. And this portion of the show is brought to you by Forge IT Consulting, providing a fully outsourced IT department with a personal touch for small business. No company is too small. ForgeITconsulting.com. All right. So before break, Rick brought up we were talking about water and water in different areas. And we mentioned Winter Springs and you mentioned Oviedo. So the whole time around the hurricane, especially like Hurricane Ian, like Winter Springs got so much water. And it was like it was just like flood city. But then we also quite frequently get the boil water alerts.
Mm-hmm.
What causes that? And what happens if you don't boil your water? Are you going to get sick?
Well, they usually issue boil water alerts when there's a high bacteria level in the potable water.
Mm-hmm.
So whether the city lost power in the water processing plant where they put the chlorine in,
Gotta get
and
closer. There you go.
where they put in the chlorine or things like that. If they lose power, then that water is not being treated as what it needs when
that
it
makes
comes
sense.
out. So it's just a precautionary. A lot of times that you'll hear of that is when there's a water main break. Well, there's possible contaminants that have gotten into that line that they just want to make sure that bacteria is killed before we drink it.
Mm-hmm.
No, okay, that's
So they constantly monitor that. I mean, it's for our health and safety,
so it's a bacteria thing.
Yeah.
Then. So what about people's lines breaking at their own house? I mean, so how do you find a leak when if my water bill came back
Mm-hmm.
and I know what my water bill normally is and it came back and it's $100 more and I was like, okay, Rick, there's so many different pipes.
Mm-hmm.
How do you find, especially if it's not a huge one?
So there's a process. If I get a call for somebody that has a really high bill and it's not, that's not their normal.
Is that one of the most common things? Is the high bill?
Yes, where they see that we use 25,000 gallons a month, and this month we use 70,
Jeez.
and it happens, and you don't know.
Mm-hmm.
And they wouldn't see have a soggy yard or something like that?
Not necessarily, no.
Wow.
No. Most of the time, that's a valve, that's not closed, and it's a lot like a toilet flapper and a toilet on the inside.
So, and you hear it run. Okay.
And you hear it run. You just don't hear it run when it's
Underground.
and it's outside and
Right.
all that. So there is a process that we go through to determine whether it's inside or outside. I mean, if it's an inside, then, we're going to have to call a plumber. If it's outside and it has to do with the irrigation system, then we have a process of where to start. And, I always go after the easiest things first, the most common things first.
What are those?
Most of the time, those are valves, or if I turn on a system and as I'm running through and I have a zone that's got a broken line, or a head that was run over by a mower or someone else like
Maybe
that.
tree roots?
Tree roots can easily cause that as well. If we have a windstorm, that's where we're going to use a larger volume of water.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll go after all that stuff first, and then if we determine that it's not anything like that, and then it's a smaller leak, we actually have just purchased the equipment to do leak detection.
Is it with ground moisture or how does it work?
It's all done by sound. So
awesome.
we have a mic.
I didn't see that coming.
So
They use bats.
we have a mic. We have a microphone on steroids. So when I say steroids, I mean steroids.
So you can hear all the little bugs in there.
If I tap a grass blade, all right.
You blow an eardrum?
Almost.
Really?
Yes.
So you can hear the dripping, or you can hear.
You can hear water. Leaking water makes a noise, and that's that noise that we're trying to find.
Cool.
Wow. I want to know what that sounds like.
And it's specialty equipment. I mean, the stuff was not cheap by any means, but it's another service that we're gonna be offering our clients as so that we're that one stop, one call.
So before that, until you have bought this equipment, you had to kind of like just figure it out.
Well, we would try to figure it out, and if we weren't able to, we would tell the client that they would have to call a leak detection company.
Mhm.
All right, so that makes really good sense. I'm going to
Okay.
put that in your commercials now.
Absolutely.
Mhm.
You know, it's a process. We're learning.
Does it save you a lot of time, I suspect?
It's supposed to.
Okay.
It's supposed
Once
to
you
save
get-
us a lot of time. I will still go through the process that I've gone through over the years, but I just have the tools at my fingertips now that normally I wouldn't have never had.
Yeah.
And you know, it's just another aspect of our service.
So, talking about tree roots, we had a great business owner. He owns a company called the Drain Daddy, and he said that he's a plumber, and he said he actually saw tree roots grow underneath a toilet, and like where the piping is, and come up and grow into that because it was looking for the water source.
Yes. So we had an irrigation job a couple of weeks ago that his valve would not turn off. All right. So he had to turn the water off to the whole system because the valve kept running. Well, when we located the valve had been leaking, and that's what when it had been leaking for a long time. So the oak tree root found the water source and absolutely almost encased the valve in the root.
Oh wow!
So cool. I think that's
I mean,
so
it
neat.
really
I
is
kinda
cool
did
when you
too,
think
though.
about
It's
it.
fascinating.
But that root's gonna go for that, and I mean, it wasn't a big leak; it was just a little leak. But that root gravitated toward that water.
And you had to chop it off.
We had to cut it out and change it out for them. So yeah, trees can do wild things.
Well,
with
Winter
plastic.
Springs, yeah, Winter Springs. I don't know if there's other places like Winter Springs, but we have so many freaking trees.
Oh,
And I
yeah.
love them. Don't
Well,
get me
They're
wrong.
pretty,
Yeah.
The thing is trees are great, and when they build these new communities, I mean, they're putting in these oak trees when they're small, but in 20 years, they're having to redo the roads, they're having to fix the sewer lines.
You had an issue.
I was
didn't you?
just saying, I was about to say that is my exact problem because I have my neighbor right behind me has a tree, has like 3 of them that are up on our fence line. And my backyard is just pavers and a pool. And our pavers now look like this.
Absolutely.
So I'm going to have to do something about that soon.
So years ago, I was doing the landscape install for a new commercial building, and they had the concrete parking lot. Then they had a 2-foot easement with a retaining wall. Well, the genius landscape architect wanted oak trees in that 2-foot span,
Mm-hmm.
and I literally fought for the owner. Say, hey, we need to get this plan changed. Let's do palm trees or crepe myrtles or something that doesn't have or else you're
that
going to,
root system
in
right?
5 years, that retaining wall that is perfect now is going to be tilted over.
Right.
Your concrete dry.
Is there not someone who checks off on this stuff?
There
and,
supposedly is, but that's
Actually,
above my
now that
pay
I
grade.
think about it, the townhouse that I was telling you guys about, now that I think about it, we had to have an oak tree removed because our air conditioning unit, the cement slab was sideways.
Yeah.
But we just
What's
had
happening?
somebody come over and cut it down. This was before we knew that you had to get a permit. We probably could have ended up with
A fine.
fat fine or a couple days in jail, maybe. I don't know.
A lot of people don't know that.
Yeah.
And two, now, back before irrigation and landscaping was really popular, we didn't have problems with trees because the trees went after the water source, which meant the root base went down. It went down toward the aquifer and stuff like that. Now with systems, they don't have to grow down because
They find the leaks or
somebody's watering in their yard and they put a 1/2 inch of water on their grass, that tree root's going to go up. So that's why we're having so many surface roots and things like that, is because the tree doesn't have that incentive
to go down.
to search for water because it's at its fingertips.
Well, I
it's
know.
at its root tips, I should say.
We've seen root systems because of the hurricanes and stuff like that. We've seen things get ripped up, and it's like this tree goes down, and can see where the roots went to another group of trees and took those down too because they were all connected.
So cool.
Underground. Yeah. I mean, it's kind of scary because we have,
yeah.
like, I can only imagine what underneath my house must look like because we have an oak tree, a ginormous one outside of Aiden's window. And then we have that whole system that's in the very front.
In the very front.
Yeah. So that's a little nervous making. We'll just hope they all just stay intact.
Stay up, guys.
All right. Well, that means that we're going to break. The segments go by so fast. So, all right. When we get back, we're going to talk more irrigation with Rick Hall. So stay tuned.
Welcome back to BaaD Radio, brought to you by Premier Couple Superstore, because a couple that plays together stays together.
Welcome back. And this portion of the show is brought to you by Liberty Property Inspections. Your home is one of your most important investments, so don't trust it to just anyone. LibertyPropertyInspections.net, helping you protect your investment. And that is Mike Heyman. We were talking about him earlier.
Hey, Mike.
Yeah, so
Hey.
Mike is awesome. He was on a couple of weeks ago, and we just have a good time. And I mean, and like we were talking about him earlier, he's like one of our OGs where he was just like, is it OGs?
Yep.
Original gangsters.
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah. You know, I get it mixed up. I'm old. But he was on the show, and he's been one who's been supporting the show since like day one as well. So we appreciate that. He's one of our, and I said on the show intro, I was like, you know, one of my very favorites. And he was like, hey, I thought I was. And I was like, that's why I said one of my favorites.
Fight.
All right. So we're here with Rick Hall with, I almost said Liberty, Ground Up Property Services.
Live your best life.
Yes, one of those. And so far, we've just been talking about irrigation systems. We've been talking about a lot of different things, but I think one of the biggest things that I wanted to really touch on is the importance of the irrigation system to the overall curb appeal of the home. Because I think that lots of times when people are buying and selling homes, that the irrigation system is something that is overlooked. Do you see that happening a lot?
I do. I was actually at a house yesterday. I was sent out to this home that had been closed on. People had already moved in, and their system was never checked.
Not by the inspector, not by the
Nothing.
close, or the whose job is it to check the
Does
irrigation
the property
system?
inspector do that?
I don't think so.
Some do. Some just check for operation. So one of the services that we do is we will do an irrigation inspection. All right, where we actually will go out and we'll look at every single head, make sure the system is up and running, make sure the timers are good, make sure that it's operating as efficient as it can. Because what happens is people move into that house, and then all of a sudden their grass starts dying or whatnot, and you know, their system is not working correctly.
That's Tom and I.
There's heads that aren't moving. There's heads that are leaking. The time's not set right. They don't have a rain sensor, so it's either, you know, there's just a lot of variables, and that's the last thing on a buyer's mind when they move into a house.
But why do you think that is? Because you would think that the lawn would be one of the top. But I meant we're just as guilty because when we bought our house, we didn't.
Because you're thinking about the house. I mean, you're thinking about, I don't know.
The thing is, it's education. I love to educate. I love to teach people and give them that power that this is if they want to have that extra expense up front, you know, then they know. Okay, they know if that well is pulling up sand. Okay, if they're gonna need to budget for $3,000 to $5,000 to have a new well put in, or whatever that circumstance might be, or something that we've been doing a lot of is pump cycling.
What is that?
Yeah.
Pump cycling is when the pump turns on and turns off because it's not enough water is being used. All right, so the worst thing for anything mechanical, cars too, is to start and turn it on, turn it off, turn it on, turn it off, turn it on, turn it off. Well, that's the same thing on an electric motor, on a pump. All right, so one of the jobs that we went out to was for a lady that has horses, an equestrian facility. Okay, they had this big pump, and they had these zones, and she wasn't moving enough water. All right, so we went in, we were able to add heads and combine zones together. So when that pump turned on, you know, we were running at 70 PSI constant. Okay, that pump wasn't turning on and turning off, turning on, turning off. There's relays. There's all that stuff that kids use when that happens.
So because of that way it was before, did it burn her pump out?
It was on the verge of, yes.
So-
Yes. So we were able to save life on that pump. I don't know how long it had been in there, but whoever had installed it, put in a larger well pump.
Yeah.
Are those expensive to replace?
Thousands. Yes.
Okay. Yeah. She must have been happy you fixed that.
Yeah,
Well,
for sure.
She was happy that we fixed it, but then she also was happy that when she waters, she can water more of an area in less time.
Oh,
True.
nice.
Yeah.
Okay, because we balanced the system out.
I mean, it's not very expensive to add heads, right? They were like, I think they're like $20 or $30, but you still have to do all the piping.
On smaller residential stuff, yes. On the heads that we use in the equestrian facilities are a lot more. Okay,
But probably
so-
not as much as what that new pump would
Correct.
cost, right?
So she was really happy because now rather than having part of her pastures watered, she got the whole pasture watered on that same zone without
Nice.
having to add new valves, wire timer, all that kind of stuff.
You mentioned wells. Do people really still have wells?
Oh yes, and if you have a well, it's an asset. It is huge. So
Please explain, because I grew up on well water and it was a nightmare.
I'm just picturing Snow White. That's literally what I'm picturing.
It's
guys.
not really like a well. It's just a reservoir underwater. where
Oh,
it's
that's less.
I mean, you can
fun.
explain it better than I can.
So you have two types of wells. You have a shallow well that's usually 20 feet down, and then you have a deep well, which is usually 100, 120.
Do they all
plus.
have buckets that you can like roll down and get a
See, that's what I'm talking about.
Now you're talking old school, man.
That's what I want.
Talking old school. But so the homes, a lot of the houses in newer HOAs don't have wells, nor are they allowed to.
Allowed to? Why?
Well, one, the city will probably say no. B, depending upon the aquifer and where the home is at, you can pull up iron, which then turns the sidewalks red and the street red, the house is red.
So is that the sulfur?
No, that's iron.
Okay.
All right. If you have a well, you can set your system up to run, and it will always run at that efficiency. When you're running off the city water, you're running off usage, like the water restrictions in most of our areas locally are, if it's an even number house.
Are you talking about what days you're allowed
Yes.
to water? Okay.
So
gotcha.
everybody on that side of the street is going to water that same day. And if we're in a drought, they're going to water longer. So that means pressure is going to be less, which means your coverage is not going to be as great.
And your shower is going to suck.
Well, if you're using well water for your inside, if you're using it for your outside.
So
for
can
your
you have both?
A lot of people do, yes.
See, that
Yeah.
would be great to have
It's-
well water for the lawn and then have city water or whatever for the inside.
Yes, actually, there's a couple people in your block that have the shallow well for their irrigation system,
Huh.
and
Dang.
I know, right?
and
No, I
Yes.
grew up on well water, and because I grew up in West Melbourne, my dad built the house there. I mean, he had it built, and growing up, it made our hair turn like this coppery color because
No.
we were all blonde, Carrie,
Right.
Kelly, and I, and then he had put this like filter and the soft water thing on it, and then. Have you ever taken a shower in soft water before?
Is that the one where it makes your hair feel like?
It's like if you
You
feel
can't
like you're
clean it out?
soapy.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
soapy, yes.
So I was so happy to just like get regular chlorine city water because I literally like had copper colored hair because of, I guess you said the
Yeah.
iron, right?
The iron, there's all sorts of other
And it
stuff.
stunk too.
Yeah.
It was very heavy smelling. And then on top of that, he built a hot water heater or a solar hot water heater by himself and put it, so we only had like this much hot water with three
God.
girls in the
no,
house.
No, that's
And-
wrong.
No.
Totally.
And if you went on there and if your shower was too long, he would turn that crank and turn it right off on you.
Do
So
you guys rock paper scissors for the first shower?
no,
Why?
What?
because we had to go oldest, middle, youngest. So Kelly,
What are you?
I'm middle.
Oh, so you
So
didn't
Kelly
get the
always
oldest
got the
You
one.
maybe got a little bit.
That's messed up, man. I'd
No.
be rock
Protest.
paper scissoring. Yeah.
Protest.
My dad tried to put us on a toilet paper ration before too.
Oh my goodness.
It didn't
It's a
work.
thing.
2 sheets, and that's
You
it.
said 4.
4.
Oh, he was
That's at the back end number.
generous.
But yeah, so
gosh,
I had my
great.
experience with well water, but I think, oh, goodness gracious, I don't know what that was. But I think that having like the well water for the outside and have the city water would be ideal.
If you're in an area that you can do it, it's a good investment.
Would it be expensive for me to do it?
It'd be a little costly.
All right. Well, we're going to talk about that a little bit more. We're actually coming up into the last segment of the show, which is unbelievable.
I know.
Wow, time flies.
It goes so fast.
I know, it's 2 hours too.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we're going to break, and when we get back, we're going to finish up with Ground Up Property Services. So stay tuned.
Welcome back to BaaD Radio, brought to you by Premier Couple Superstore, because a couple that plays together stays together.
I want to give a huge thank you to our sponsor, Bolts Legal. Bolts Legal, fear no storm with boltslegal.com. 33 tanning spa with locations in Altamont Springs and Longwood. Andrews Law PA, auto accident attorney. You can contact them at andrewslawpa.com. Crazy Muscle Nutrition with a new address of 1015 Unit 129, State Road 436 in Castleberry. And I am very excited to introduce a new sponsor, Imbalance Body Work, 101 Lake Mary, Florida, 32746. And their number is 407-801-8502. And you can get their info at inbalance.com. That's info at enbalance.com. That's, I'm not going to say that every single time. It was his first one, but it's Derek Brantley, and he was a gentleman that was on here that he's not a chiropractor and he's not like a physical therapist. He's kind of the in between.
He's not a masseuse.
Yeah.
Do not call him that.
Yes. But he's one of those people that it's a little bit hard to describe what he does, but it's like deep tissue stuff.
Oh, wow.
But he was on the show and he got several calls and he got clients from it because he got the opportunity to like really talk about what he does,
What he
and
does
and
in
people
depth.
were very interested about it, and it turned out really good. So he called and now he's a sponsor, and
Wonderful.
Welcome.
I know. Welcome. And so when we were on break, I said to Rick, I was like, I really want to go over all the different services that Ground Up offers. And he started to tell me, and I'm always like, okay, wait.
I'll stop.
Wait. So pick up where you left off. Actually, no.
No,
start,
yeah.
Start over again.
From the top.
From the top. So we have several irrigation packages. One is an inspection. So if you're buying a house, we can work with the home inspection team.
Okay.
Okay. To make sure that system gets inspected, and that you know what you're dealing with.
And I highly recommend that if you're buying or selling a home.
It's knowledge. Our second is our maintenance package, where we come out 2 times a year and we will run through the system and make sure, it's maintained a lot like what you would have with your AC system,
So
where you would have somebody come out and service that. That's kind of what we do. We keep it going, keep it to where hopefully it's not a big expense every time we're out. It's just a couple of heads or
do you
adjustments.
pick those 2 times of the year based off of the seasonality?
It's 6 months.
You have like
It's-
your wet season, then you have your dry season.
It's
so-
usually 6 months from the first time that we're out there.
okay. So it's
So
just-
we try to do it on a 6-month cycle, and with that also waives any of the service calls that they might have in between visits.
wait. What now?
If they're part of our membership program, then if 2 months after we go out, we do the service, and they call and they say my valve is leaking or broken.
Right.
So because they're a member and they're a client of ours, an ongoing client of ours, we will waive the service call
Nice.
for that.
Okay, that's definitely an advantage.
It's a huge advantage. All right.
And before we get too much further from that first thing, when we had talked about the buyer, I thought I remembered you mentioning something where you will teach the homeowner like
Right.
how to operate their sprinkler
Okay.
system, because when you move in, you're like,
Yes.
"What?"
That is our orientation program.
Okay.
Okay.
That
was the best lead in ever.
That was the best lead in it.
Oh.
So what this program is we'll come out one time and we will teach you how to run your system. We'll show you what you have, where things are kind of located, where your zones are,
What it should look like.
what it should look like. It's just a consulting, it's just a teaching moment. A lot of
If
times,
it's like hitting a fence, then you teach them how to like adjust the sprinkler head.
if they want to know that, yes. A lot of times it's just, we have 6 zones, and I'll go out there and they really have 4 because they have a 6-zone timer. They think that they have 6 zones, and they wonder where are the other 2 zones.
Tricky.
Yeah, so it's just that knowledge. I mean, a lot of home buyers now more than ever are not from Florida. They don't know our yards, our grass, our plants, and things like that. And
Or mosquitoes and bugs and love bugs.
and squirrels.
They don't have squirrels up north?
I don't know.
Yes, they do.
Yeah, I'm sure
Okay.
they do.
They're just different colors, right?
Yes. Yeah. So, and that just puts knowledge in their pocket. There again, it's an education thing. And then we also have a service that we started the first of the year where we paint turf.
Okay.
Grass painting.
I love talking about
I know,
this.
this is
part.
your
It's
favorite
fun.
part. It's her favorite part of the read.
You're
Grass
like,
painting. So we can make a yard from brown to green in just a matter of a short time. It's a temporary.
How long does it last?
I was about to ask that. I don't
Sorry.
think we've ever asked that.
So it lasts in the wintertime. You could get 8 to 12 weeks out of it.
Oh, wow.
In the summertime, you'll get maybe 2 or 3 because of our
The
growing.
watering and stuff.
Yeah.
Growing.
But see that's good though, because if your grass is like dying because of the winter or whatnot, then it's gonna last longer. So
Yeah.
for holidays,
For
etc.
holidays, Christmas parties.
Well, that's what I was going to say. What are some of the situations
Yeah.
why somebody would want to paint their lawn?
family gatherings, reunions, and your yard doesn't look the best that it needs to look, and you want it to look great for pictures. And when people come over, well, then we can make that work.
What about like baseball fields and soccer fields? and
Well,
stuff
most
like
of those are usually done by the maintenance company of that field. A lot of golf courses, it's the same concept as the golf courses, baseball fields, all that
Yeah,
stuff.
nobody wants to go on a golf course where it's got brown spots all
Right.
over it. You're like, yeah, that's a cheap one.
and it's a natural product. It is not bad for the environment. It's biodegradable, and it will not kill your grass.
What about somebody trying to avoid an HOA fine?
That's ideal.
You could
I was
probably
going to say, that's a great idea.
Very, very sneaky.
yeah, you could spray it, and then in the meantime have you like fix their actual irrigation so that it will catch up.
If the grass dies for whatever reason, we just balance it out.
I think
So-
I'm going to put you in touch with some party planners that I know.
That would be ideal.
Yeah.
And also,
Wedding, like organizers.
photographers, because that'll just make that area that they're taking photos in or whatever just highlight.
Ooh, wedding venues.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
All that's perfect for us.
All right. Mental note. All right. I've got like my referral list here. And then so we've listed 4, but then you have the leak.
Yeah. So we're going to be launching that soon. We really need to be very efficient at what we do, before I really want to.
Well, I mean,
push
you
that.
have a leak detection process right now anyway. You're just like getting that equipment.
Yeah, we're just
out.
we're taking it 10 steps more,
Mm-hmm.
okay, than what we've been able to do.
Okay. Well, that's all amazing stuff. What are some of your best referral partners? So, because we were talking about all the stuff for the painting service, but what about for the other services?
Realtors, property managers, home inspectors. If people have friends in the equestrian,
okay.
that's an extremely good referral.
I do.
They have to keep the riding rinks and the training rinks and all that stuff have to be irrigated. And I've been finding more and more that things aren't done properly.
And so, are you interested in like the neighborhoods and not just the? I mean, you're interested in the individual houses, but the neighborhoods as well.
Absolutely.
So you can.
Absolutely.
You're equipped to be able to service
Absolutely.
that whole thing. Because I know of a couple of HOA companies
Mhm.
that they service multiple HOAs. They're like the
Mhm.
HOA managers, I guess
Right.
you could say.
Yeah.
So
I mean, that's that'd be a great referral for us.
All right. Well, I've got that. And then you're still going after the villages?
I'm still going after the villages.
All right.
It's been hard to break in there. I mean, we kept getting more and more job leads out there. So
okay, so like you said, if you get one, then they tell the other person.
that's
and then tell
exactly
the
how
other
it
person.
works, and that's how we're getting in there.
I wonder how WFLA's listenership is within the villages. What do you think, Melissa Fox? You think we're okay?
Oh, they're there. Trust me. Yeah.
Awesome.
All right, if you're in the villages, give us a call. All right, so we need to wrap it up real quick right now. So Rick, give everybody your contact info.
Ground Up Property Services, 407-468-4295, groundupinc.net.
All right, and you can reach me at melissa@strikingbrand.com or social media. You can find me at Striking Brand.
And I'm Angela at BaaDradio.com on Facebook. Business at a Distance, Central Florida Networking, or call 321-303-6424. Huge thank you to our sponsors, and thank you for tuning in. Have a great week, everyone.
Have a good one.